My name is Jenny. I am 20 years old. I live with my father, my stepmother, and my stepsister, Anna. My mother passed away when I was very young. My father loved me, but when he married again, everything changed. My stepmother does not like me. She loves Anna very much. I clean the house, cook, wash clothes, and go to the market. I carry heavy bags. I am always tired, but I do not complain. My stepmother never thanks me. Sometimes I feel invisible. When I turned 18, my stepmother started talking about finding a boyfriend for Anna. Wear your best dress and go to the school fair. I asked, "Can I wear a new dress?" She laughed. "No, wear your old clothes." At the fair, Anna wore a beautiful white dress. I wore my old faded dress. My heart sank. But then I saw him, a young man with a friendly smile. He looked at me and said, "Hello, what is your name?" The next week, my stepmother had a plan. "Anna, wear Jenny's old dress. Jenny will wear your beautiful dress." I felt nervous, but I had no choice. This time I wore Anna's beautiful dress. When we arrived, everyone noticed me. People whispered, "Who is she? She looks so beautiful." The young man came to me. "You are amazing," he said. A few days later, my stepmother asked me to go to the park to collect flowers. I slipped on wet grass and hurt my leg. I could not walk home. I called the young man. He came quickly, carried me home, and brought food and medicine. Every day he visited until I got better. At home, my father finally noticed how hard I worked. He said, "Jenny, I am proud of you. You are brave, kind, and strong." I smiled and felt happy inside. One day, the young man asked me to marry him. I said yes. Now I am happy. I have a loving husband, a caring father, and I am respected for who I am. I learned that true love and happiness come to those who never give up, even when life is unfair. My wedding day was small but full of love. I wore a simple white dress that my father bought for me with tears in his eyes. My husband, Daniel, for that was the young man's name, held my hand and promised to cherish me always. My father gave me away with a proud smile. My stepmother and stepsister sat in the back, silent, but I did not let their coldness spoil my joy. After the wedding, Daniel and I moved into a little house near the edge of town. It had only 2 rooms and a small garden, but to me it felt like a palace. Daniel worked as a carpenter, and I took care of the house and started selling the vegetables I grew in our garden. For the first time in my life, I was truly happy. But peace did not come easily. My stepmother could not accept that I had found happiness. She began spreading rumors about me in the neighborhood. Jenny was always lazy, she told the neighbors. She left us without a word after we raised her. Anna, too, would make snide remarks whenever she saw me at the market. "Look at you, pretending to be a fine lady," she would say, flipping her hair. "We all know where you came from." I tried to ignore them, but their words stung. Some neighbors started looking at me strangely. One day, the baker's wife, Mrs. Brown, asked me, "Is it true you abandoned your family?" I felt my face grow hot. "No," I said firmly. "I worked for them since I was a child. I did not abandon anyone. I simply married the man I love." Mrs. Brown looked doubtful, but she said nothing more. When I told Daniel about it, he put his arm around me. "Let them talk," he said. "The truth will come out. Just keep being kind, and people will see who you really are." I took his words to heart. I continued tending my garden, baking bread, and helping neighbors when they needed it. Old Mrs. Miller next door was sick, so I brought her soup every day. The blacksmith's children were hungry, so I shared my vegetables with them. Slowly, people began to see the truth for themselves. One afternoon, my father came to visit. He looked older, and there was sadness in his eyes. "Jenny," he said, sitting down at our small kitchen table, "I am sorry. I should have stood up for you long ago. I let her treat you badly, and I said nothing." I took his hand. "You are here now, Father. That is what matters." He stayed for dinner, and Daniel welcomed him like family. As my father left, he hugged me tightly. "I will come more often," he promised, and he did. Every week he would stop by, bringing small gifts and spending time with us. I could see the guilt in his face, but also the love. Meanwhile, my stepmother's schemes grew worse. She went to the landlord who owned our little house and told him that Daniel was behind on rent. It was a lie. We always paid on time. But the landlord came to our door with a suspicious look. "I've heard rumors," he said. "I need to see your payment records." Daniel calmly showed him the receipts. The landlord nodded, apologized, and left. But the damage was done. Our reputation was being chipped away piece by piece. Then came the winter. It was harsh, and our small garden froze. Money grew tight. Daniel's carpentry work slowed because people could not afford repairs. I took on sewing jobs from neighbors, working late into the night by candlelight. We had just enough to eat, but we were worried. One evening, I saw Anna outside our gate. She was shivering, wearing a thin coat, and she looked miserable. I opened the door cautiously. "What do you want?" She would not look at me. "Mother was wrong," she whispered, "about everything. She gambled away our savings. Father is ill. We have nothing left." I felt a swirl of emotions: anger, pity, confusion. I wanted to close the door, to protect the peace I had built. But then I remembered Daniel's words, "Keep being kind." I stepped aside. "Come in, sit by the fire." She sat down, her face red with cold and shame. Daniel came in from the back room and, without a word, gave her a blanket. I made her tea. She told us everything. My stepmother had been secretly gambling, using my father's money. When the debts came due,
She tried to blame others, but the truth came out. Now my father was sick with worry and a bad cough. They had lost their savings, and the house might be taken. That night, Anna slept on our sofa. In the morning, I went with her to see my father. He was pale and weak, lying in bed while my stepmother paced the room, muttering. When she saw me, her face twisted with anger. "Come to mock us, have you?" I ignored her and went to my father's side. "Father, we will help you." He shook his head. "You have so little, Journey." "We have enough," I said. "And we have love. That is more than money."
My stepmother scoffed, but Anna surprised me. "Mother, be quiet. Jenny is the only one who came." Anna's voice was firm. Over the next weeks, Daniel and I did what we could. We took my father to the doctor, and I nursed him back to health. We could not pay all his debts, but we offered him a room in our house. He accepted with tears in his eyes. My stepmother, however, refused to come. She stayed in the old house, bitter and alone. Anna stayed with her for a while, but eventually Anna came to live with us too. She had changed. The jealousy and cruelty had faded, replaced by humility. She worked hard in the garden and helped with sewing. Slowly, we began to heal. One spring morning, a letter arrived. It was from an old woman who had heard of my story through the neighbors. She wrote that she was looking for a hard-working young woman to help manage a small shop in the next town, and she had heard I was honest and kind. She offered me the position with a small salary. I accepted, and soon I was earning enough to help Daniel and support my father. My stepmother, left alone, eventually fell ill. Despite everything, I went to care for her. She was too weak to speak harshly, and in her quiet moments, I saw regret in her eyes. Before she passed away, she whispered, "You were always the good one, Jenny. I was jealous." I held her hand until the end. Years passed. Daniel and I had a daughter whom we named Hope. My father lived with us until his death, happy and loved. Anna married a kind farmer and became a good friend to me. Our house grew, the garden bloomed, and the little shop prospered. I often think back to the girl I was, tired, invisible, carrying heavy bags. I remember how it felt to be unloved in my own home, but I also remember the choice I made, to keep being kind, to keep working, to never give up. That choice led me to Daniel, to my father's love, to a family rebuilt. Life is never perfect. There are still hard days, worries, and sorrows. But I have learned that happiness is not given to us. It is built, one small act of kindness at a time. And the family you choose, the love you give, that is the truest wealth there is.